Fantasy readers.
Fantasy reviewers.
Fantasy countrymen.
Lend us your elf ears.
Love it.
And a huge thank you to all of our Patreons.
Thank you to the Pit Fighters, the First Swords, and all of the Bright Stars, Truth and Courage. We love fantasy. We love 5-star reads. Here are 10 books that we are predicting will be 5 stars.
Yes, we've got 5 each. And first up for me is Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb. Yes, I've not read Live Ships. Yes.
Just get it out of the way. Number
just
one.
Rip up my reading license every night. And I don't deserve it because I've not read Live Ships. And I'm sick of people saying you've not read Live Ships. Mainly you, because you say in every video, even if we're talking about, I don't know, like rabbits or Watership Down, you say what, you've not read Live Ships?
Why would you talk about Watership Down and rabbits?
Ed hates rabbits and Watership Down. It's my revenge. Just think of General Woundwort, Ed. Anyway, you don't know, people don't know Ed was traumatised by General Woundwort when he was a child. Yeah, and it remains with him to this day.
Papa Gwyn made me watch it when I was 4 in a dark room, and it's a U. It should be an 18.
Not that you're better about it. I've got Ship of Magic. I love Robin Hobb's works. I committed sacrilege only reading the series with the same cast of characters in the Realm of the Eldlings. I'm trying to right my wrongs.
This makes the Fitz books even better.
I know. So I'm going to be reading Ship of Magic pretty soon. And yeah, I can't wait to read it. I don't know, Ed.
Have you read Live Ships?
Will you read Live Ships?
Yes, I will. Wear Live Ships.
Yes, I will.
Someone on this platform who I trust 110% of the time is Petrick Leo. We love Petrick. We do. We love Petrick. We do. It'd be a great charm. The Grace of Kings by Ken Liu is a series or a book. The Dandelion Dynasty, I believe, is extremely recommended by Petrick and a lot of other people lately. It's probably one of the biggest series last year, that I saw recommended.
Yeah, it's the weird thing of BookTube, isn't it? Where I think the books came out a few years ago.
Yeah,
especially Grace of Kings Book 1 came out quite a few years ago. Yeah. But just when a few people start reading it, you just want to pick it up. When you hear someone chatting about it, you want to share in kind of that excitement
fear
and buzz.
Of missing out, really.
FOMO.
Really quick.
And so, yes, so many people were reading it last year and just absolutely adoring it, weren't they?
We love good literature, no matter what it's like. And this is obviously fantasy, so we are going to read it. Ken Liu, The Grace of Kings. This is about a dying emperor. And there are 2 people leading their own rebellions against the emperor. There is a bandit and I believe a duke or a duke's son, something like that. But I've heard it is incredible. The POVs are remarkable. The action is amazing. The world building are brilliant. I've read Ken Liu's short story collection, The Paper Menagerie, and the short story, The Paper Menagerie, did make me cry. So Ken Liu is a master with words, and I'm really excited to see how he builds a fantasy world.
I completely forgot about The Paper Menagerie. It was part of my TBR because you talked about it.
Yeah.
And just, on to the next one. Next up, I've got one of my most anticipated releases of 2024. It's already come out and I've somehow not read it yet. Well, I've left it until I've got time to dedicate to it. And it is Empire of the Damned by J. Christoph. We have a review for book 1 on the channel. And spoiler alert, we loved it. And this is book 2. I thought it was quite a bold choice when I heard people saying that J. Christoph has gone into 2 POVs with this, where book 1 is just 1 POV. And that's always a risk where there's kind of a structural change between book and 1 and 2.
People don't like change, do they?
It's just often because book 1, you love it because of just the composition just all clicks. And then book 2, when that's changed dramatically, it's risky. But people have said that they really respect J. Christoph for that because it has paid off in book 2. And I have just the utmost trust in his craftsmanship. And so, this is book 2. I cannot wait to dive in. And he's nearly finished book 3.
I can't wait.
So,
This is also on my list of 5-star predictions. I love J. Christoph writing. I absolutely adored Empire of the Vampire. So how can I not love Empire of the Damned? We trust Jay. It's going to be great.
And this is one of those that it just... Every now and then you come across a book where it just feels utterly unique. And I remember reading the first 2 pages of Empire of the Vampire, and it talks about Day's death, where kind of the sun isn't as bright. It's shrouded by, we don't know if it's an environmental kind of catastrophe or something else. People don't know. A bit like The Road in that sense.
Yeah.
And so, harvests have died, and also vampires can now walk in the day, which, as if things weren't bad enough with crops and drought and famine and all of that.
Yeah.
And I just had that feeling that within the first few pages that it was going to be unique, and it really was. And so someone just bibbing for fun just to say hi to the camera there. They love Joe Christoph. And so, yeah, this is Empire of the Damned, and yeah, I can't wait to pave on with this book too.
Yeah, very nice.
And neither can Ed.
Neither can I. The third one for me is Royal Assassin by Robin Hobb. I've only read Assassin's Apprentice. Don't come at me, guys. William hasn't read Live Ships yet. He skipped it. But Royal Assassin is going to be a book that I'm certain I'm going to love. I loved Assassin's Apprentice. It's one of those books you just wanted to savour, read slowly. Sadie is currently reading it, and every time I look at her, she's like this. And then she looks at me and she goes...
I know the feeling, Sadie.
And
we should do a chat, us three, about
she would love Apprentice. That. I would love that. So, yeah, we'll both probably read Royal Assassin pretty soon, I think, the way that she's loving it. And yeah, it's just making me want to carry on with the series. I definitely want to read more Robin Hobb. I am going to read Shaman's Crossing soon. I'll probably read that first before I read this because it's kind of research for my own book. But yeah, Royal Assassin is a book I'm certain I'm going to absolutely love.
Very nice. The most pages I've ever read in a month was, I think, 4 years ago, and it was when I read 7 Robin Hobb books in a month.
Wow. And
because I just, every night, that's all I did, basically, just read for 3-4 hours a day. I think
it's longer than 4 years when you were on your Robin Hobb obsession. You were still at secondary school.
Yeah, so...
It feels like 4 years
5
ago,
years, maybe.
Like
5, I think.
10.
Or 5.5.
How old are you now?
21.
Wow.
Yeah, 5.5 years ago then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Time
is flying. Yeah, because
the thing about time, guys, is it's fleeting, and you need to just make the most of it and grab the day as it comes. Carpe diem.
Carpe diem.
Yeah. Oh, Captain, my Captain.
Carpe diem. Says in this room.
Very nice.
On to my next one, and that is The Words of Kings and Prophets by Sean Lawless. This is another series where book 1... I'm just waiting for book 3 to get close to coming out. But book 1 is another one that we've got a review on the channel, the Children of Gods and Fighting Men. I recently read the novella, which is called Dreams of Fire by Sean Lawless. It's a prequel novella, and it is brilliant. It's one of those that perfectly balances adding kind of context and to book 1 that I've read, but also having its own story in it, which is satisfying if you haven't read the first book of the series as well. This is book 2, and book 3, my favourite title of them all, The Land of the Living and the Dead.
Yeah,
comes out, I believe, in September.
Yeah.
And so it's a great time to start reading this series. I hope you do pick it up. It's historical fantasy set in very late 10th century Ireland. We've got 2 characters. They're from rival kind of family. Are they families? But rival groups of Irish mythology, which have different powers, but they're diminishing as magic is leaving the world, and they are bitter enemies.
The Tuatha De Danann.
That is right. And the
Fomoriae,
that's it. And yes, sorry if we pronounce those wrong, but I think you're much better at pronunciations than I am, so I'll trust you on that. And so yeah, this is book 2. Cannot wait to carry on. I've heard there's a bit more action in book 2,
yes,
than book 1, and so that'll be interesting because
there's also a lot more time to connect to the characters.
Okay,
I think the first one was full of like the political machinations, especially with the Irish Cersei. But this one, there is kind of more time to grow connections to these characters and watch them grow connections with each other, and then have them severed.
It sounded really philosophical and loving until the end, but yeah, looking forward to paving on with book 2.
And William has read this, but I have not yet. It's Play of Shadows by Sebastian de Castell. I have read all of Sebastian's adult fantasy books, and I'm very much looking forward to Play of Shadows. I have read Crucible of Chaos. I've read 11/7 and obviously The Great Coats.
Oh yeah.
William said he absolutely loved this. I don't actually know anything what it's about, other than it's in the world of The Great Coats. So William, please tell us the premise. So
you don't have to have read The Grey Coats to read this. This is set after the events, and there might be there's an Easter egg or 2.
But I have.
Especially at the end. But it's one that you don't have to. We follow Damalas Shadowmantane, and this is small scale. Damalas Shadowmantane.
Nice.
And yeah, what a name to start off with. And we join him as he is running through the streets as someone is calling him Rabbit, as he's running away.
Run, rabbit,
basically, and it's as an insult. And he's being chased down, and immediately...
rabbit's an insult.
Well, it is when you're being chased by people wanting to kill you.
True.
It's like calling someone chicken. Chickens are... Okay, I'm not the biggest fan of chickens because I'm scared of them, but I wouldn't wish ill on a chicken. But you don't want to be called a chicken,
Why are you scared of chickens?
They chased me when I was younger.
When he was 20.
Chickens are my version of the rabbits for Ed. But anyway, so he's running away, and straight away we get kicked off into everything that Sebastian de Castell can deliver, which is his wit, his humour, the twists and turns, and I love the...
He's like a fantasy postman, isn't he?
Always delivers.
Yeah,
I was thinking... Oh, Ed, you've become a father and the dad jokes are here. But yeah, and straight away he delivers on that, and Shadow Mountain somehow finds himself saved by a theatre group. And so he's brought into being an actor, which he thinks is going to have a very small role, just help him fade into the background a bit. But somehow it places him into the centre of attention for the entire city. And I love how Sebastian kind of puts humour on people who take theatre too seriously, but also quite philosophical in the power of performance as well, and the power that theatre and in extension media
involved in
can
theatre,
have.
didn't he?
I think he did. Yeah. So I think it's very funny. Obviously, I've only done acting on a very kind of amateur level, just little productions.
Yeah, just ones in the bathroom.
It is really funny, just kind of looking at kind of all the different personalities, and it is very, very true.
Yeah.
And
Which one are you? Is there someone in here?
I think I'm probably a mixture of a few of them.
Does anyone mention Stanislavski's method acting?
Oh no, sadly not. That'll be in the next book probably. But yeah, I just love how it's brought into. It's not epic, but it's high stakes.
Nice, love it. Cool. Over for you.
Next up, I've got The Lies of Locke Lamora by Scott Lynch.
Talking of high stakes,
is this epic?
It's like intimate epic.
Perfect.
Similar to Play of Shadows. It
Perfect.
sounds like. Yeah.
So I've heard that this is like Oliver Twist, but if it was from the perspective of the Artful Dodger, set in a fantasy world and a bit grimmer.
Yeah.
And so I hear there's also due timelines. There, which some people it clicks with, other people it doesn't. So it's a bit what's the word? Divisive in that way. But I've seen timelines done very well, and it never really kind of bothers me in the reading experience. And yeah, it's one of those that I've heard so many great things about. People really compliment Scott Lynch's writing style, how immersive it is, but also the dialogue is a key part of this. I've heard, and that is a thing for me. When there's good dialogue, it just brings so much extra kind of depth and layers to the characters, and really adds to the reading experience, and helps keep the pace up as well.
There's a good bromance here.
Is there?
Yeah.
Cool. I'm looking forward to seeing that as well. Yeah. And I've just heard so many great things.
You'll walk around saying, "I am the ambush." Yeah.
I'm looking forward to finding out what that means. But yeah, with the arrival of the Broken Binding Special Edition as well, I'm just feeling my need to read this series ignited once again. So that is The Lies of Locke Lamora.
I feel the need
for speed. I believe that's my fourth. So I think we've got
Lamora. This is my fourth.
2 more each, yeah.
Until the last is the last book of the Last War, and there's lots of lasts here. I presume people will be taking their last breaths, and maybe they'll be killing people for the last time. But I don't think this will be the last time that I read this series, because I love it so much. I am certain I'm going to love this. I just know I will. It's a big boy, and I want to give it the time it deserves, so it will be read this summer.
Very nice.
This summer I will find.
Did you prefer book 1 and book 2?
Probably 1.
Very nice.
Probably 1, but it's close. Book 2 had some insane and iconic moments. Book 1, I'm a sucker for book 1. Because I just love the setup. Yeah. You know, being in that world for the first time, it always fills me with this new excitement. Yeah. Exactly. And I wasn't aware of the grit that Shackle has, because book 1, it's a shock.
It is.
Book 2, you don't expect it, but you know what's in store for you. But
Dark
book 1
things.
Was such a shock. And is insane.
I
just love
how
Mike Shackle's writing.
That one is as well, because you look at the question of kind of terrorists or freedom fighters, and the line of how
it depends. Yeah, what side of the fence you stand on.
Yeah,
depends whose side you're on.
Bringing innocence into the fold, is it for the greater good? Yeah. Is that justifiable? Very interesting in that way. Good. And Mike Shackle doesn't give us the answers, but he gives us the questions.
Yes.
But yeah, and I think there's a video on Mike Book Reviews' channel talking about why you should read the Last War trilogy, which please read it. It's not discussed, but it's not talked about enough. Yeah.
Hard agree.
Last up for me, I have The Once and Future King by T.H. White. I love Arthurian literature. I love Arthurian retellings. I'm currently reading Arthur by Giles Christian. And I need to read these. I believe it is 5 separate stories which have been seminal to kind of how Arthurian works have been looked at from a modern lens. And one of these stories is directly taken to make Sword in the Storm, the film.
Really?
Yeah. I believe
Sword in the Storm, the film?
Sword in the Stone, sorry.
Right, okay.
Sword in the Stone.
I was, you will,
I keep
you
getting
really
mixed
got
up.
me excited.
I'm sorry, Ed. The Sword, but you love Sword in the Stone.
I do love Sword in the Stone.
But you thought you had a whole new film to watch.
Sword in the Stone is probably one of the best Disney films of all time.
It is amazing.
What's the owl called?
I don't know.
Archimedes.
Is it?
Archimedes.
That's a great name.
Love it.
But yeah, so I cannot wait to read these. And it's one of those that I think I can kind of read one, then read another book, then read another, then read another book. And guess what?
What?
Read another one. So there we go, got 5.
You're a madman.
5 stories in here, I think. And
that does not count. That still only counts as 1.
That's all right, Gimli. So one of my history seminar leaders actually mentioned that in their
seminar.
In the seminar, yeah, because they're saying even if you write one incredible essay, it only counts as 1. Where you've got to have 3 to make up the full grade. And he said not to sound like Gimli, but still only counts as 1.
Nice.
Which is quite cool.
I like that, man.
But anyway, yeah, that is The Once and Future King by T.H. White. And my 5th and final fantasy 5-star prediction for today.
Sorry, I thought you were starting a new sentence. The last one for me is The Last Shield by Cameron Johnston. And this book, I love a film comparison. A film comparison probably gets me more interested in a book. More interested than a book comparison, I think. And the film comparison to this book, which is coming out soon, is Die Hard, the fantasy version.
Oh, really?
I don't need to know anything more than
that. Yeah. I think, I do agree with the film.
Like, with Wolf of Wessex, when Matthew Harvey said, this is the Viking version of...
Nice.
My bad. When Matthew Harvey said that Wolf of Wessex is the Viking version of True Grit, I was like, I don't need to know anything else. It's going to be amazing. If that's the inspiration, if that's the comparison, then I want to read it.
Exactly, that can hook you. I think maybe because book comparisons, so many books, it's just Game of Thrones
is the
means
next
this.
Game of Thrones. How is the Rage of Dragons the next Game of Thrones?
It's amazing, but it's
fantastic
not
book, but it's
Game
nothing
of Thrones.
Yeah.
Like when it said Gladiator...
Yeah,
you can
there's
see
a
the
Gladiator segment, but it doesn't mean it's Gladiator. If it's still, that is better than saying.
I can see because, and also it's quite epic as well.
It feels that actually
more fitting.
Fits. Yeah. Exactly. But the new Game of Thrones, get over it.
Like publishers, if they chose book or film kind of comparisons that
were accurate,
they'd just draw the right audience, wouldn't they? Yeah. It's a bit like The Northman. One of its big problems was people said the new
generation's Gladiator.
So people who loved Gladiator went to watch it, and it wasn't their.
Well, they should have said
jam.
From what it sounds like, I haven't seen The Green Knight before you get angry, but what they should have said was, this is the Viking... Well, you said you haven't seen it.
No, that's when you said the best
you
films.
haven't seen it.
That, if you haven't seen the video, it's where Ed said the best films released this year.
I said the
Furiosa, King of Planet Apes. I said, have you watched them? And you went, no.
No, I said the biggest films. Seriously, I challenge you to a Holmganga. Anyway,
everyone, they have our 5-star fancy predictions. Everyone, thank you so much for watching. Leave us brothers to fight.
If William and I duelled in a Holmganga in the circle like Logan and many people, then who do you think would win? Come on, who would win? Let us know in the comments below. We look forward to seeing you there.
Age helps me here.
Yeah. I am old for a reason.
Ed hasn't been able to walk properly for a few weeks. But you haven't been able to.
My gluteus minimus is almost healed. Thank you very much.
Almost.
Yeah, you have a dodgy ankle, so I know
Not anymore.
what to go for.
I've run a half marathon since then.
It's very Greek of you to have a dodgy ankle.
But I've run a half marathon since then. I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Are you saying I'm Achilles? That doesn't bode well for you if you're saying you're like Achilles.
No, I meant like
your injured ankle.
No, that I meant that the most injuries
that's
in
so
a phalanx.
Nice of you. Thank you.
No, the most injuries in a phalanx are in the ankle area.
Thank you,
and
everyone.
the greaves area.
Thank
Please
you for watching
don't do
so
this.
much. Can you see this?
Call
by
you
the way?
Achilles.
Everyone, thank
Achilles.
you so much for watching. You know the answer to that question. Truth and courage.
From Paris,
the brothers Gwyn.
Menelaus. Right, ciao.